You're listening to the Bourbon and Balance podcast, where we discuss fitness and the finer things in life with people who find balance between both.
This week we interviewed Hilarie Dreyer. Hilarie is a registered dietitian and pediatric dietitian at Hellen Devos Childrens Hosptial. In this episode, we dive into her background, how she got into being a dietitian, and then some of the nitty-gritty of her daily job, as well as she gives us some of her opinions on adult diet and nutrition information and some of her go-to information. I think you guys are really going to like this. If you want to increase your Olympic lift strength, as well as your bench, squat, and deadlift, and have some fun doing some high volume bro style accessory work, head over to our social media, check out the link to our Broly program. Right now, you can use the promo code BROLY50 to get 50% off your first month of programming. This week's episode is sponsored by Coal Whip Speed Ropes. Coal Whip was designed with two things in mind, speed and efficiency. Use promo code BOURBON to get 10% off your first order.
Is that Bourbon and Balance? Can you say it? Yep.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bourbon and Balance podcast. My name is Ryan Schaefer and I'm sitting next to Tyler Chapman and across from a good friend of ours, Hilarie Dreyer. Hi.
Hello.
Cheers.
You guys are
Cheers.
making me jealous
I know,
because
it's really good.
they're drinking red wine and I'm drinking stupid LaCroix.
This is key lime.
It is a good flavor.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you called that out. Some people don't like that flavor, but
Because it tastes too much like vodka.
Really?
Lime.
ooh, I don't think so. Well, I've never mixed alcohol with LaCroix.
Oh, I'm just thinking like a vodka soda.
Have you?
No.
Never?
No.
It's not
Sure.
good. It's not enough
You
flavor.
have.
I don't think
Right
I
off the
have.
bat.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it's not enough flavor.
I don't get like club soda either. I'm not like soda water. I'm just like, no, just give me tonic water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tonic water and any clear alcohol, I guess you could put in. Like tequila tonics. Sorry, we're already talking about alcohol. Anyways, we'll get onto that subject. But Hilarie is a good friend of ours. Your like technical term is a registered dietitian.
Yep.
So like what do you do on the daily? And then we'll kind of like go back in time and learn about how you got to where you are now.
So I work in the neurodevelopment clinic at Hellen Devos Childrens Hosptial. So I work there Monday through Friday. It's a typical like 8 to 4:30, 5 o'clock job.
Mm-hmm.
We primarily follow kids who are born super, super early. So before 31 weeks or less than 1,800 grams. So less than right around 3 pounds.
Wow. Actually, this is kind of interesting because your daughter was born relatively.
Not super early.
Not-
It was-
yeah.
She was at 37 weeks.
Okay.
And she was really little though. She was 5 pounds, 13
Yeah.
ounces.
Little
So
baby
not like
Sutton.
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was tiny. She
Yeah.
actually just doubled up.
Oh, how
She
big
just
is she
doubled in
now?
size.
She's getting chunky.
Is she?
I think she's
Like
like
her
10
daddy?
pounds now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Chunky like her
She's
daddy.
making up
Oh, yeah.
time.
Actually, Daddy's trying to get slim.
Daddy's
Okay,
a
thank you
boy
very
right
much.
now.
Good thing we're talking to this dietitian lady because I can't be having peanut butter banana bread every
Got to
single
have that dad bod.
Just as a side note, remember the picture from this weekend that you like showed me and you're like, dude, this is a bad angle of me. And I was just like, oh, it's not that bad. I must have not looked at it that closely because I saw
got
it
a little
again.
Muffin
Oh,
top.
And I was like,
maybe it was a bad
dude, he's
angle.
thick.
It was both a bad angle and I'm in bad shape.
You're not in bad shape.
No.
And it was a bad angle, to be completely honest. Anyways,
You can
sorry.
you can be really small and have a bad angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should have like turned.
Yes,
and,
and then-
split my legs.
Yeah.
And, like, did that, like, ass
Do the
bump.
poses like the girls do
Yep,
now when they put
yep.
their legs
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Well, you had a slit in your dress too.
Yeah.
So you could have done that.
My
with
calves
your
were popping.
leg. Okay. So,
Okay. Anyway,
So
so
8 to 5 Children's Hospital.
Yep. So most of the kids I follow are tube fed. So most of the kids I deal with on a day-to-day basis don't eat by mouth.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So
What age are you working with?
Newborn. I mean, it can be till 18, but most of the kids are probably 5 and less.
Okay.
Yeah.
18 years old.
Yep. Well, we'll follow them. So a lot of kids are born like super early. We'll have like cerebral palsy or We follow like kids with like congenital heart disease or like chromosomal abnormalities. So they're tube fed for most of their life or all of their life. And so we follow them in our clinic.
Interesting.
Yeah. But most of them, once they so our doctors follow them for like neurodevelopment issues. So if they have some sort of like brain injury or something that happened at birth, our doctors will get them in the right services for like developmental delays or needing things for like CP, cerebral palsy.
Gotcha.
Or yeah, but then so like they might age out because we're just following them for feedings, but like their pediatrician could take over, or they'll just see like just a dietitian.
I would imagine that when you went into school or like you decided that you were going to do this, was this something that you did want to focus on or something that just kind of like fell in your lap?
I don't really know. I definitely wanted to work with kids, but there's so many different avenues you can take, and you don't even have to be clinical. I mean, you could do like food service or like corporate wellness or fitness.
You're saying as a dietitian?
Yeah. So there's just way too many things to know what to do. And I think we all get pushed to be clinical. And I'm much more like math science brain. So that was like kind of a easy go-to, but the money's not really in clinical.
Yeah.
Or
it's not in clinical. Really?
No. If you want to make money, you got to do like private practice or
okay. That makes sense.
Wellness or
that's kind of interesting though, because that's not the case for like other degrees.
Right.
Like you look at like an exercise science degree, a lot of the time they're pushed to go clinical to go like PT or whatever.
Yeah. And I think I kind of thought that going into it. And then you get into it.
That's where the money is for that degree. If you go into wellness or like coaching or
like
is that just because like with clinical, you're pretty much set with what you do and it's just like flat rate. Whereas when you go into a private practice setting, you can almost have like a volume, like sales kind of, compensation level. I
think a lot of it is healthcare right now is not the best thing to work for. And I feel like insurances are slow. Like they don't recognize dietitians as providers. So we don't bill for a lot of our services. So the hospital, this is all what I'm just assuming, but the hospital is losing money kind of by having us. Yeah. Because we are being paid, but we're not bringing money in.
Yeah. You're almost like expendable resources.
Yeah. Well, and I worked at Bronson, we billed, and then there was more of a salary increase there. But
like opportunity. That is kind of interesting.
I'd have to jump to like management if I want to make more.
I would imagine that, and that's what Jay has to do. She has to get into some type of management role because non-clinical exercise science kind of, you can plateau.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to me. It seems as though in any type of clinical setting, the money is where the insurance is. Because as soon as you can bill insurance, then you're tapping into,
right. That's where the money
huge funds.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting.
But it sounds like one of those ultimate where you're at is like the ultimate push pull of like heartbreaking, but also rewarding and amazing.
Yeah. Like I'm helping a lot of people and I feel like I'm good at my job, but if I wanted to grow financially, I wouldn't want, I mean, it's not like I do horrible, but it's like, and sometimes I feel like I could be here for 20 more years and maybe make 10 grand more.
Really?
That's not good.
Yeah. That's,
I don't know. And I'm really pulling those numbers out of my ass because I really don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it seems that way that we're like when we're like 2 to 3% maybe every year and we don't really start that high. It takes a long time to get anywhere.
Like build your reputation
but maybe that'll change.
Seniority.
I mean, more and more insurances are recognizing us as providers. So if they can reimburse, the problem is Medicaid doesn't right now. And that's a majority of the kids that we see.
Really?
Yeah.
So how many kids do you see? Like what is the turnover rate? Because babies are being born literally
it's crazy.
All the time.
And that's another problem is we don't ever get more help because we're not bringing more like we're not bringing money in. So we're not getting more dietitians.
Yeah.
I tried to do a little count on it last year when I was trying to get another dietitian hired. And I think we follow like 2,500 kids. Maybe like, so 2,500 kids were seen in our clinic at least once last year.
Okay. So this is per year.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's like 2,000 kids. That's like 200 kids a month.
Yeah.
Just about.
But then their nutrition problems aren't just once a month. So like these kids are like tube fed and they need increases every 1 to 2 weeks, because as they're growing, their calorie needs increase.
And how many dietitians are split within these?
In my clinic, we
2,500
have two dietitians.
Wow.
Just you and another person?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And
you have
we
to,
don't
like-
see all 2,500. I mean, I would say probably 50%. Maybe I don't see.
You're just like getting labs and sending
We don't actually
recommendation
do a
or
lot of
something like
labs, but it's more like these kids are coming in for like hour-long visits where they go through a whole thing like gross motor skill, fine motor skill, touch on feedings, touch on services. And maybe our doctors have gotten so good at nutrition that I don't see some of them when they're doing okay just because they can't see 20 kids a day.
Is that the case that doctors are?
In my clinic.
Okay.
Yeah. Not really any. There's like, so Hellen Devos, there's different specialties. So there's like pulmonology, you have the lung doctors, you have the neurologists, you have the GI docs, you have the kidney docs.
So the doctors that you're referring to that are getting good at diet, at prescribing these, protocols, what are their specialty? What is their specialty?
They are neurodevelopmentalist.
Okay. So food to them is something that they have to have studied in order to be in the
Sort
position
of. I
they're in.
think that they just learn it on the job.
Okay.
But a lot of our kids are tube fed. So they don't do, it's like these kids are on these specific formulas and they might know how to do the math to increase it by 5 to 10%
Sure.
to like prescribe the next regimen.
Got it.
But they'll like check in with us to make sure that makes sense, or we'll like look at their nutrition online to make sure they're meeting their vitamins and minerals. So we'll
Okay.
like double check, but yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
because
little
that's
crazy.
always been kind of like a topic of discussion for just like family doctors in general.
Yeah.
Like I've always been curious in, both like what type of nutrition background they have, and then what type of like physical wellness background they
Yeah.
have. Right.
I think it's minimal.
Yeah. And so
Yes.
that's what makes, and you hear like the horror stories of like, I've had a doctor tell me that I shouldn't squat below parallel.
Yeah.
I had a doctor after my labs. I think I was just barely above like the regular cholesterol range after almost talking to him for 30 minutes about like doing CrossFit at the time and eating the diet that I was eating. The recommendation I got on the phone was to diet and exercise.
Yeah. Like, okay.
just more.
Yeah. Just do more.
Now,
Crank
obviously,
it
like,
up.
that's
Get
not
that cholesterol out of there.
like that's not like, I don't want to make it sound like we're saying like doctors
Yeah.
are bad, because that's not the case.
Yeah.
Like, but and I've always been curious in order to become a doctor at whatever level. I'm always curious what types of steps they've taken in terms of knowledge to
Yeah.
learn about the
I
human
think
body
it's
and,
like
a
1 to
nutrition.
2 classes.
Yeah.
And it's so hard though. There is so
much
to learn.
learn.
I can't even imagine.
So that's
Yeah.
where your
like
job comes
14
into.
years.
Right.
It's another
However
thing.
many years.
Yeah. What?
Like, I feel like I have friends that are doctors now, or significant others of friends that are doctors, and like even now I'm freaking 30. Like they're still in school.
Mhm.
I was like, what? Been out of school for like
Yeah.
9 years.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
So, yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
So yeah, the schooling is just insane. I
Yeah.
can't
And then
imagine.
it is still bizarre though that it's such a contributing factor.
I know.
Yeah.
Just so many of the issues that
Agreed.
they face that they
Yeah.
don't.
It would
have
save
more
so much
knowledge.
money later, but I wonder how much like the pharmaceutical companies come into
I was gonna say
Do you think-
again, back to the money. Like
Yeah.
the loop of money is, it's not in preventative health.
Right.
It's in
Right.
What's the term? Like Band-Aid health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
I don't know the exact
Not
term.
preventative, but something else.
I don't know.
I'll think of it and then I'll just
Yeah.
point it out.
We're not smart enough. Apparently,
Obviously,
to
I don't know
remember
what it is
words.
either.
No, it's like when you put a Band-Aid on something
Yeah.
instead of finding the root cause and fixing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I
Whatever.
don't know.
Yeah, it is still really bizarre that, it must partially be because the research changes so often.
Right.
That's something with exercise science and strength and conditioning that's really difficult,
Mhm.
is that people a lot of times view what I do as a strength coach as being like pseudoscience, like bro science or anecdotal,
Mhm.
because it changes so often.
Yeah.
There's always it's like every other year, like static stretching is bad, and then static
Right.
stretching is good,
Yeah.
and then static
True.
stretching is bad, or carbs are bad, carbs are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fats
Fats
are
in,
bad,
fats out.
are-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of stuff that like, one, it's constantly changing, and two, there's definitely a lot of people that are having like this shiny object syndrome,
Mhm.
where
Totally.
it's like you're seeing whatever the newest study said. And that's what we're going to latch on to.
I was going to say that's probably like most, like there's probably more of that within nutrition than we realize.
Yeah.
And
There's
you're
so
probably
many
seeing
people that are
on-
like not qualified that talk about nutrition.
Yeah.
But it's not, I mean, you can, especially in Michigan, there's not licensure for dietitians. So anyone can practice nutrition, where in other states, you have to have like the licensure, the registered dietitian to give recommendations. But in Michigan, there's like
you just
half
have
the
to
states.
have like a certification.
I don't exactly know the process.
Okay.
But I know that in some states, well, how it probably would work is like I had to sit for boards to become a registered dietitian, and every 5 years I have to keep up my
You have to get
continued
continued
ed.
education.
Yeah.
CCs.
Yeah. But, and I think then like as a social worker in Michigan, you get like your licensure because you're a licensed social worker. So I bet it would just come with like the schooling and the continuing ed that you get your licensure.
Yeah.
So what was your schooling like?
4 years of undergrad. And then you had to apply to like, they call it an internship where, and now they're making it, you have to have a master's, but,
In order to be an RD.
yep. Soon.
Where'd you go to school?
Michigan State. Well, that was my third college.
Go
but
green.
Yeah, we talked. When did we talked
Yeah.
about this for a little
When
bit?
we went for dinner
Oh, right.
with
right.
Ross and JJ.
So you started somewhere, huh?
Do you want to dive into the full path here, or are we just go in college?
Well,
Oh.
so the story, I actually learned this story a few weeks ago, but it's a little fuzzy because
Gotcha.
we were having spirits that night.
Yes.
So I was just looking for a quick reminder.
Nice.
I went to Grand Valley my first year out of high school.
Yeah.
And I think I wanted to be a nurse. I knew I wanted to do something medical. Didn't really like it. And then, I mean, I didn't like it. You take gen ed and you don't really like.
You're not like in the nursing program.
No. And I think I was just
Liberal
like, I
arts
don't want to
101.
be at Grand Valley. I want to like go somewhere.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I remember I took one of those like tests where they like see what you could be based on like your weird answers, you know? And I remember I got a fashion buyer and
Oh yeah. I remember
yes.
this
So
now.
I was like, cool.
Hell yes.
I'm 19. Let's go. So I went to New York City and went to Fashion Institute of Technology.
Wow.
Like legit, like literally did what you were just about to like mock.
Yep.
Like straight up.
That's
packed.
incredible.
I was like, I think I liked cute
Did you watch
clothes.
The Windy City, New
Did you
York.
watch The Devil Wears
Probably.
The Devil Wears
Sorry.
Prada
like,
before you leave?
What's
Or,
that one show where they like have
Project
to?
Runway.
Yeah. Yes, that one.
Why do you know this?
Because I've watched a shitload of Project
It's
Runway,
pretty
bitch.
addicting. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm. So I did that.
Any
and-
competition show is entertaining. We were just watching
Yeah.
the Great British Baking
Oh,
Show.
dude, I was
before
just about to
left.
say any baking show or
Yep.
Food Network show.
Yep. Speaking of
Guys
competition
grocery
show,
games. Yes.
one of our former guests is competing in the Ultimate Fighting Championship.
Oh yeah. Wow. What a loop.
Yeah, that's crazy.
This is
though.
great.
Our Vinny, we're rooting for you.
Well, he's not. He's probably training now. He's probably.
Yeah,
not
I
gonna
think he's
listen to
actually.
us.
They wrapped the show. I think they do the whole thing and record it, and then it's going to be released.
So
What
he's
is that?
like in the middle of doing it right now.
Yeah,
Oh.
it releases in a couple weeks.
So
What is
that's
it?
kinda
What is it?
It's like a
Murdoch. It's his actual. It's actually his cousin.
Yep,
Who's a UFC fighter.
Oh.
and it's like cage fighting,
Mhm.
but it's like a reality TV show where like I don't remember.
They
It's
have
20
two-
guys end up living in a house together, and they like fight through a tournament, and then
Like Big
And there's
Brother,
like
but fighting
two
style.
Yes.
pro.
they like actually fight,
Oh.
and
Yeah,
then get
like
a
legitimate.
contract.
Yeah,
at
I'm
the end
interested.
of
If you win, you get a contract. There's two
Okay.
pro like coaches, and they're also professional fighters, and they
Okay.
like coach the guys
Interesting.
through fighting. Yeah,
There's
so
a
he
show for
got
everything.
invited on it. It's pretty cool.
That was a
Yeah.
bad rabbit hole. We're
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about
Sorry.
nutrition,
Yeah.
not competition TV shows.
Okay, so
Dang it.
then you went to New York,
Yep.
and you're like,
And I was
I'm
like-
gonna do fashion,
Yeah. Like fashion buying, okay? Like not like designing. Do you
like
know,
for Macy's.
so like I don't even know what it
Yeah.
was. Like I
You
just
wanted to
know
get
that I
out.
was like, this sounds cool. Like
Yeah.
you would like
Did you
work
know
for
anybody that went there,
No.
or like you literally just like
just went there,
packed up and left?
packed up and drove
That's
over
incredible.
there. Yeah, I was 19. I can't believe my parents were like, go for it. Live
Yeah.
in Times Square.
Live
But,
and learn.
yeah, basically.
I've never been
Um,
to Times Square. Have you?
So
No.
it's
Is it pretty cool?
Yeah.
Is it like what you think it would be?
Mhm.
Just like a lot of lights and
Mhm.
cameras and action.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I feel like as a 19-year-old though, like you don't like appreciate things.
Oh, yeah, not at all.
You know, like
Yeah.
I don't know. So
You're
I
just,
was
like,
there
there.
for like a semester, and I was like, this is not for me at all. Like I miss
How did you
sports.
find? Like, what did you live? Like, where did you live?
So it was right in Times Square. There was like the way their campus was there was like tall buildings of classes and dorms. So I shared a dorm with 3 other girls.
Okay.
And it was like super small. It was like 2 bedroom, or not 2 bedroom, but like really squished with the one bathroom for the 4 of us.
Yeah.
Okay.
And no
But-
like dining area or lounging area.
Nope.
Just
you
a
paid
prison.
for basically
Just a what?
Yeah.
A prison.
a prison.
Yeah.
Prison
Oh,
cells.
brick wall prison. No, there
Yeah.
was wood. And wasn't that bad.
That's
But
like what's
There
the
was wood.
Yeah.
It
What are the
wasn't
dorms
that
at Grand
bad.
Valley? Like Kistler. Or,
Yeah. Kistler, Grand Valley.
That's where-
Was
that's
that's where I lived
legitimately
my
like
first
a,
year.
That's
like a
where
prison.
I met.
Really?
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
where I
friends
met
up
my
with
wife.
Aw.
Okay. Yep. Who's up?
What year did you go there?
I didn't go to Grand Valley.
Oh, what year did she go there?
2000. What fall
It's
of
fuzzy.
2010 to
Oh,
20.
because I lived in
13,
Kistler 2009.
14.
Ah, yeah.
See?
So you missed her by.
I could have married your wife.
Yep.
That would've been-
Yep. Well, whatever.
Yeah.
It's 2021.
Okay.
Anyway, so I didn't really like it. And then I think I was like, oh, I'll just go back to Michigan State. Like a big school. I missed
You had
sports.
friends there, I'm assuming.
Had some friends there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Didn't want to go like super close to home. I'm from Holland originally.
Yeah.
And I don't honestly remember really how I got into being a dietitian.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
You just like started taking more gen eds and then.
Well, no, I knew it before I went to to Michigan State. Like when I knew I was going into Michigan State, I knew that was going to be my path.
Gotcha.
I think so. I knew I wanted to go into something like science, and I love food.
Mm-hmm.
So I debated between like
Same.
science. Yeah.
Seriously. Has to be a dietitian.
Dietitian,
Right.
meat
Mhm.
scientist.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. So I thought like a food
Baker.
scientist would be so cool, but then I liked working with people. So I think that's kind of how I segued into food, helping people.
Interesting.
Got it.
Yeah.
Did you have
But-
any other jobs before the job that you're doing now?
Yes.
Out of school?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. So I went to then I went to California for my internship.
Oh,
Whoa.
sweet.
Yeah. So I lived in Sacramento for a year. So that's like a matching process where you apply, like you have to have like a pretty decent GPA and you have to be on these like committees, like make yourself look really good because
Yeah.
it's like a 50% match rate.
Okay.
And it's kind of like where you apply to like 6 to 8 places and then they rank you rank them. And there's like match day and you get figured out
so
where
it's
you
like
get to go.
Got it.
like doctors do the same
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yep.
Did
So
you
I
get
applied-
matched with your number one?
Number 2.
Oh, sweet.
I think my number 1 was in Chicago.
Gotcha.
I don't know. So I applied everywhere other than Michigan because I was like, I just want to
Get out.
travel while I can.
Yeah.
So then that was a year. And that's basically like rotating through like all the different clinicals and food service and ambulatory care and community nutrition. And
That's kind of cool.
yeah.
There's a lot more to just like the scope of a registered dietitian than I originally thought.
Yeah.
Like community nutrition,
Yep.
right? Is that
Yeah.
what you said?
Yep.
Like, what is that?
So you could work with like school lunches have to meet certain
Standards.
certain standards, or like there's a lot of different like government programs, like the Women, Infant, Children program, or different like Meals on Wheels for
Yeah, like I would have
elderly.
never known.
Yeah,
And you can basically, after this internship, you can like
kind of
pick
pick your
and
path.
choose whatever.
Yeah.
Huh.
Interesting.
Yep.
And then you knew you wanted to come back to West Michigan after Sacramento?
Yeah. Now looking back, I'm like, why did I leave California so fast?
Yeah.
But I think at that age, you're like
Yeah.
24, like I got to go home and get married.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I didn't. I'm
So
like,
you
why did
did.
I just?
No, I'm
so why
just
did I
kidding.
just not travel the last
You
6
blew it.
years? But
Yeah.
everything happens for a reason.
Sure.
So
Let's
then
get her back to Sacramento. She could be Vinny's.
Nutritionist. Does he
Artie?
live in
Who's
Sacramento?
Vinny?
Yeah,
Is that
that's
right?
what the
That's
Team
fighter.
Alpha Male.
Oh.
My cousin, that's a fighter. Their
Their headquarters
Team Alpha Male is like
are-
one of the best fighting teams is out of Sacramento.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool. Sacramento's pretty cool.
I've never been.
Isn't it very expensive?
Not in Sacramento.
Really?
We lived in a.
Oh wait,
like
I'm
a-
thinking San Francisco.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's very expensive.
San Fran is like super.
Yeah.
But Sacramento's still like upstate New York, right? Or whatever. Or,
Yep. Yep, it's like an
California.
It's in
hour-
California, man.
Other
side.
I'm still thinking about the Windy City.
It's like
Yeah.
an hour east of San Francisco.
Gotcha.
So same. Yeah, it's nice because it's like 2 hours to Lake Tahoe, like 3 to Yosemite, right by Napa, right
Yeah,
by San
that's so
Francisco.
cool.
But I didn't pay that much. I mean, like I think it was 5 years ago. It was like $1,400 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath with a pool, and
That's actually pretty
Really?
good.
yeah,
And you had a roommate, I'm assuming. Yeah.
she was another girl in the program.
That's so cool.
Mhm.
Nice. That's pretty comparable to the rest of the
$700
country.
bucks a month.
Yeah.
Or you paid $1,400.
No, we each paid like 7 something.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, that
really
was 6
comparable to
years.
the rest of the country.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
It was like 6 years ago, but I don't know.
Yeah,
It
I mean,
wasn't
I
like
guess
that.
like
You go
inflation
Sacramento.
does happen, but-
It was a nice
isn't
place.
There there's a Anchorman quote about Sacramento, isn't there?
I don't know.
I thought
There's
that's
so
like-
many.
I know. I'll think of that one too.
What do you
Yes.
think's the most quotable movie of all time?
I'm
Wow,
the
dude,
worst
right
away?
movie
Yeah.
watcher.
You don't watch movies?
Not really.
Really?
Nope.
Do you watch shows?
Kind of.
Next.
Kind of when it's
What's your
cold.
favorite movie?
This is like turning into a date. Like, what do you do for fun?
Nothing.
Why'd you move from Sacramento?
Read books about food.
I
don't
can't.
even
I have
know
no
I'm a
idea. I can't even
dietitian.
do like my last 5 years or 5 movies. I can't. That's not what I meant to say. My top 5 movies, can't even list that.
Really?
Oh, that's all right.
Do you have a favorite movie? Like,
No.
what's movie pops in your head? Go.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, but I don't know why that popped in my head.
Isn't that Matthew McConaughey?
I think, yeah, it is.
It's a
That's
good
what pops in
movie.
my
I
head.
think Jay likes that movie a lot.
It is
Yeah.
pretty good. That was one I can remember watching over and over, probably because I think he's hot.
You had the cassette
Well,
tape.
duh.
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey is hot.
Yeah.
Him in the Lincoln commercials, I'm like, damn, boy. Okay, so what was your... Oh, you're talking about your jobs before the one that you have.
So I worked I knew I wanted to do pediatric nutrition for a hospital, but that's kind of like few and far between because
Okay.
there's here, like Hellen Devos, or
Yeah.
you have Bronson Children's, or you have like the
Where
east
is
side of the state.
Bronson?
Kalamazoo.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why it sounded familiar. I
Yep.
knew it was in Michigan.
Or you have like the east side of the state or like way up north.
Yeah.
And those the jobs are pretty few and far between because like I said, there's 2 of us in our clinic.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably 20, maybe a little bit more, 20 pediatric dietitians. And there's maybe 5 or 6 at Bronson.
How saturated of an industry is it? Like, how does the pool compare to the number of jobs? Because like in strength and conditioning, there's so many more people that want to be a full-time strength coach than there are positions available.
Clinically, it's probably pretty saturated.
Okay.
As a dietitian, there's so many different avenues that you can go that you can become a dietitian and probably figure it out.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not that difficult.
No.
to
Like,
get
it's not
it
like
done.
everybody's looking for a children's nutrition role.
Or if a
No.
position becomes available, there's not
Well-
going to be 150, 200 applicants.
No, not necessarily.
Gotcha.
No. I mean, the job, like the clinical jobs that I'm in, I think are more few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
But you could do now that like online stuff, you can do so much nutrition
With
coaching.
nutrition.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
You
I mean,
probably want to build a clientele or like build some
I mean,
reputation.
I know of a lot of people that have like literally done what's the hot certification right
precision
now is
nutrition.
precision.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people will do that course.
Mhm.
I don't know how long it is. And then it's all online.
Yeah.
You pass it, you get a certification, and then they start basically like building clientele and doing online
Yeah.
nutrition.
But that wouldn't be like
counseling
a
and
technically a
stuff.
registered dietitian.
But that's not, that's
Right.
not like clinical.
Yes. Yeah. And even that, I don't think you could get a job as a dietitian.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I don't.
And
think you
even
can.
like in like different I mean, most like hospital kitchens will have like a dietitian kind of run that too.
Okay.
Or
That's so cool. I
Yeah.
didn't think of that. I wonder if this is like a random thought that came into my head, but I'm thinking of like different places that provide food for other people,
Mhm.
like airplanes.
I'm sure
Like
they
who
have
makes
some.
who makes those foods?
I bet there's some sort
Like
of
food scientist or something,
dietitian or
of some
something
sort.
involved in like picking things out
like
or
balancing the macros
Yeah.
within.
Yeah, like I have a friend that works
A meal.
for like Kellogg, and so she's in charge of I think their like sweet cereal brand. So they like Kellogg has a bunch of dietitians.
More sugar,
more sugar is
just
the
all the
answer.
sugar
Yeah.
into it.
Yep.
Blast those children.
You scared me.
Sorry. My bad. That's what I
Dude,
think of though.
That's
Is like
gonna be the quote.
blast
Yeah.
those children.
Every time we have. Every time we do a podcast, we always walk away with a quote from the podcast
Yeah.
that's going to go on a
That's
shirt
it.
one day. Blast those children. And it's just going to be like a Tony the Tiger figure
it's
that's
just the
that's
most
screaming
insane,
that.
juiced up like box of cereal.
In a box of Wheaties.
Yeah,
that-
like the episode with Joe. I don't remember how it came up, but it was Joe's grandma was hot. That was the quote for that.
But he said it. It wasn't us that said
Oh yeah,
it.
we'll get a good one out.
All
of
right.
it.
Maybe
Yeah.
blast those children.
Blast
It's
those
not
children.
the best.
Is it,
but-
I think it's good.
You need some more.
It
of
could
that?
be like a
Do you need some
bazooka.
more of that Bobby Mondavi?
Yeah. And they'll feel okay about
It
it.
could be like you got to give it like any reference to the people listening. The Bobby Mondavi is the wine you're drinking.
Oh, yeah. They
I
don't
figured
see
people
the
would pick it
wine.
up. Mondavi's not a terribly common name.
Blast Those Children's going to be Tony the Tiger with a bazooka of sugar, and he's just going to have massive arms. And there's going to be a bunch of kids with their mouths open, ready to just take the
Take
sugar.
it.
There
the-
we go.
the
Perfect.
fluids.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
Okay,
gosh, that's
anyways.
hilarious.
So you finally end up in the role that you're in now.
Yes.
You've been doing this for how long?
6 years.
How like, what's your enjoyment of it? Does it satisfy like the needs that you originally set out?
I enjoy what I do with my patients, but I don't enjoy like the 8 to 4:30.
Really?
Life.
Just like everyday grind.
Yep.
Yeah.
And especially when you're like working hard to like not get anywhere.
Yeah.
Other than to help people, which
Yeah.
is good. But
yeah.
yeah.
But like financially
or like,
There's no mountain to climb.
No.
There's
Yeah.
like I'm becoming more of an expert in my field in neurodevelopment, but it's just like a grind every day.
Have you ever thought of doing anything outside of it
Yes.
in tandem?
Yes. I
Like-
thought about going to be a PA for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I was more so saying like with nutrition as a whole,
Yes.
because that's something that we're gonna get into soon. But
yeah.
like you've CrossFitted now for almost a decade, I'm
Mhm.
assuming. Like you have to, in your eyes, see holes within the way people treat themselves and then, beat themselves up in a gym.
I don't generally enjoy general adult nutrition because
Like just like broad scope blanket statements of like how to eat.
Yep. I enjoy
Why is that?
like I don't know. People jump on the fad diet train or everyone thinks they're a nutrition expert. You probably feel that same way as a coach for fitness.
Sure.
Like
Oh, yeah.
everyone thinks they're a fitness, whatever.
Yep.
I don't know. So I mean, like,
They're just battles that you don't really want to fight.
and I sometimes don't really care how people eat.
Yeah.
I mean, I do, but like my friends are like, oh, I shouldn't eat this. I'm like, oh my gosh, just eat the piece of pizza. And
Yeah.
it's fine.
That's like the worst curse of what you do.
Yes.
Is
Like,
that,
they're
like,
judging me. You're a
everywhere
dietitian.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I see that a lot with people that I really love. You know, you have the conversation. You have to have the conversation with them. It's like, I don't really care.
Right.
Like my choices are not your choices.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like, I don't know why that's so difficult for people sometimes. Like that, like if you want to eat bacon, but I decide that I'm not going to eat bacon in the morning.
Like it's not a big
It's
deal.
like
Not a big
food
deal.
is such like, people are so emotionally tied
Yeah.
to food. Like if you are throwing a party and somebody makes a giant amount of food and cake and whatever, and you don't just like gorge yourself, at least in my experience, because I am such a moronic eater a lot of times.
Sure.
But
most people
seriously, I like, but you know, I mean, I will eat till I'm like sick.
You will. You will.
I think a lot of people probably
Yes,
do.
you will.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that.
But yeah.
I
I
don't-
mean,
But I mean, just even not being like I help people with their nutrition. I don't tell them like specifically, like I don't cross that line. Like I'm not a professional, and I always make that very clear. Like this is not something that I went to school for. Everything that I'm giving you advice on is based off of my own personal experience with myself and with others.
Yeah.
Right. Like, but I still get those things like where we'll go to like a friend's house or we'll go out to dinner with like a bunch of people, and some that I'm close with, some that I'm not. But like a lot of people know what I do, and they like don't want to make it known that they ordered something or that, they're going to get another beer. And I'm like, dude, like I'll get another beer with you. Like I
probably
don't
eat more pizza than you're going to eat.
Yeah. Like I don't
Exactly.
care.
Yeah.
But it is like I think just food and like general health is so emotionally attached to each human being as an individual that it's like an eggshell conversation or just situation to be put in, especially when you're looked at as like the professional in that realm.
Yeah. And I think I generally enjoy like the science and the numbers behind like tube feeding. Like I find that really interesting to calculate all that stuff out
Sure.
versus.
It's kind of unbiased too, though.
Yeah.
Like what you're doing is not like, you're not, having these babies
They're
be
not.
put on a regimen.
Right.
They're like, well, I don't want to eat that.
Yeah.
There's too many carbs in there.
Yes.
Like,
Although
this is
dealing
how
with
they're going
parents
to
is almost worse.
Really?
Yeah.
But like, that's how they're going to survive and,
Right.
and probably develop
Yep.
because they were born underdeveloped.
Right.
Where like a human being that's, in their mid 50s that is eating pizza every night for dinner, like they don't want to listen to what you have to say. And then you don't want to, like, I wouldn't want to fight that battle either.
Yeah. And most of the time when it comes up with friends, it's like I start to say what I think, but they have bigger opinions and like it's not even worth it.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna let you talk.
I've
Whatever.
been using this analogy quite often. It's the Facebook argument analogy of like, regardless of what you say to somebody else on Facebook, whether, like what I'm thinking of is like political stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Like somebody has their own idea it doesn't matter what I say about the opposing idea on Facebook. It's not going to change a person's mind.
Right.
So when somebody asks like, how many pieces of pizza should I eat? And I want to tell them the truth, but they already know in the back of their head, like they don't care, or they're not going to even like bother to listen.
Yeah.
Then it's not even worth it. Like
Right.
that energy isn't worth wasting.
Yeah.
Totally.
And you have to
It's
put in the
frustrating.
time. I mean, you got to like meet with them, figure out their goals, make it attainable
Yeah.
and like constant. And I just don't have time for that in my current life. But I have thought about more and more. And that's kind of why I started the wine and arugula thing.
Yeah.
Because I also feel like I hear everyone talking about nutrition. I'm like, I'm kind of doing my profession a disservice by not giving my expertise at times.
It is really hard because as a dietitian or as a strength and conditioning coach or CrossFit coach or another profession is like, if you're an IT guy, it's one of those professions where you don't want to tell people what you do because you're the person that people want free advice from.
Yes.
Oh, it's so true.
I don't like
and
being
that's
the
such
advice
a
guy.
oh man, that's such a again, that's like an eggshell. Like you're like tiptoeing around those conversations.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like I don't like having those conversations with people I love.
Yeah.
I
That's
see
the
what you're
thing is
saying.
like really hard is like I don't like advising people I love on how to, besides my wife, I would love to write training programs. I do write training programs for my wife.
Yeah.
But like anyone that's a friend or an in-law or anything like that,
Yeah.
I don't want to be tied to their fitness because I feel like fitness and nutrition should be kind of like a business relationship.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're like,
I agree.
There's too much of like, oh, well, he just wrote it hard because he knows me or like this kind of stuff. Whereas like, that's what I've told you before. Like I struggle to write my own training programs because I'll be like, shit, I wrote this too hard. You know, I'm just going to make that 3 sets of
It's
squats
just
instead of
it's
5
the
or
vibes.
whatever.
Right.
But it's the same thing where like people are like, you know, Tully's just being a jerk. He just thinks I'm fat and he doesn't want me to eat pizza.
People tell you
so he's
that?
telling me
all
that.
the time.
No, they might think it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just feel like
I agree.
like when you have a good emotional relationship with somebody and then you try to dive into fitness or you know, I feel like relationship advice can in a lot of ways be the same way where it's like,
I mean,
you want the advice because you want somebody to like talk to and that kind of stuff, but you're really not taking it in necessarily.
It's muddy water.
Yeah.
Like it's difficult to navigate through.
Yeah. Or I'll have it too. I've had like some people ask me questions at the gym, but it's funny because someone will ask me a question, but then like 5 other people chime in with their responses.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Okay. Yeah. You guys must be the professionals.
Yeah, it's fine.
I know.
Whatever.
And that gets back to what we started at the beginning is that like people don't take it as like hard science.
Right.
Right.
That it's
Because everyone
like
eats,
voodoo.
so everyone thinks they know how to. And things work for certain people.
I
I
was just
see
gonna
that
say
all
that.
the time. Like
Yeah.
this thing worked for that person, and then they just like roll that out to every single client they have. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you might like trick them into a disordered eating behavior,
Yeah.
or
Ooh,
like,
yeah.
And we've had conversations with people like that on the show of like, then it brings in like the mental like psyche side of things where it becomes an addiction and then therapy has to be involved. And like, it is a slippery slope.
And I think
food
that-
is one of those things that like, it's really difficult to discern between like just a normal habit and then also something that becomes like addictive.
right.
Yeah. Or like it's just fuel for your what's Joe Rogan say, like your meat bag or your
What?
your meat vehicle or whatever it is. Like that's what
I've
he
heard
says.
that.
Like
Yeah.
that it's like you don't, some people are like, oh, it doesn't matter. My food doesn't have to taste good or anything like that. But there's a lot, a lot of people that food is so much more to them than that.
And I think a lot of our training or education, we have probably 50% of it is counseling education.
Yeah.
Like, we take a lot of classes on disordered eating and like counseling and motivational interviewing and recognizing disordered eating patterns. And I think that's something a lot of people that don't get that schooling miss, and then they cause those things in other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
and
I
they're
see a lot.
probably like triggering things that you learned not to do by almost like blanket stating, certain practices or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm actually really glad that, so before this interview, we usually like to like have, and we talked about this before, but we usually like to have, the guest have like some type of prompt, towards what we're going to like try and aim at talking about. But I'm really glad we're going down this path because it's making me realize that what I asked you to like think about doesn't really apply. And originally I asked to like have 4 like key things that a normal human can take away from, from somebody that's a professional registered dietitian. But it's becoming very clear, and we know this, but everything within nutrition is so individualized that it's so difficult to make those blanket statements. Obviously, there's like very high level ones of like, make sure you eat lots of fruits and vegetables, drink your water, like limit sugar and alcohol and all that crap.
The basics of lifting weights. When somebody asks what your fitness program is.
But like diving any deeper than those generalizations is probably relatively difficult, depending upon, like the age of the person, the health of the person. Ask me those, I'm like, I have
some, but they're pretty general.
I was going to say, do you want to dive into them?
Sure. And they're kind of like what you're saying. Yeah. Those blanket statements, but I think that they're still good.
Sure.
Well, really quick before we dive into those, let's take a quick break and we'll come back to it and we'll dive into the major talking
key
points
takeaways
of nutrition.
Okay.
Hey listeners, thank you for tuning in this week. If you're enjoying this content, please help us grow the show by liking and sharing our social media content, as well as leaving us a 5-star review and subscribing on whatever podcast service you're listening on. Also, if you did not see, we have started a YouTube channel. If you want to see this as video content, you can head over there, as well as you can check out our weekly training vlogs we'll be posting. Once again, this episode is sponsored by Coal Whip Speed Ropes. If you want the fastest and most efficient rope on the market, use promo code BOURBON and pick one up today.
Bobby Mondavi, we're back. Oh,
wow. Sorry, I got to do it now to sync the two of those.
Yes.
Yeah, we're back.
Okay, we're back.
And in case of you didn't know, this will be a video episode as well on YouTube.
You got like all official with your voice.
Yeah.
In case you
guys
didn't
both
know.
have pretty professional voices.
No, we don't.
Thank you.
No,
I
you do.
appreciate it.
You do. When
that
I
was one of the
it,
weird things that a lot of people told us was like,
right away,
you're really easy to listen
Yeah,
to.
you guys are really easy to listen to.
Appreciate that.
Yep.
I'm glad.
Is that something that you appreciate?
Yes, actually I do.
Yeah, because
Why?
there've been some
'Cause I have a
podcasts
radio face.
you listen,
You do. You do have a radio face.
but there's some
That's
podcasts
okay.
you turn on and you're like, I'm not enjoying this person's voice.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
So there's a podcast that I listen to. I hope we never have him on the show. I mean, I would like to have the guy on the show, but my wife doesn't.
Joe
like
Rogan.
it. Well, no, the guy's name is actually Joe DeFranco.
Oh, yeah.
He's like a great, he's a really good strength coach, but he has a very New Jersey accent. He has a very like gravelly
He was
voice.
Wasn't he on Joe Rogan?
Probably.
Or Barbell
Yeah.
Shrugged, I think.
He's
he was on
an
Barbell Shrugged.
On It guy. Yeah. And he's been on.
Yeah.
But my wife, if I try to listen to him, my wife will just make me turn it off or put it on the headphones.
Put it on the headphones.
Yep.
Sounding real young. On the line.
Put it on the
Put
headphones.
it
Do you
on
know
the
what movie that's
AirPods.
from? That movie is from The Internship.
Mm-hmm.
With
where-
that cute old guy?
No, it's with Vince Vaughn
Yeah.
and
Oh,
the other guy
not that old
that's
guy.
got the crooked nose like me.
Owen
Oh.
Wilson.
Owen Wilson. Yeah. His is worse than mine. But anyways, okay, so we're going to
sorry.
talk about where you look at my nose.
Yeah, I was
Isn't it crooked?
judging. I have
So
noticed.
crooked, so
No, it's
bad.
fine.
I have a deviated septum. Don't make fun of me. We
You sound like the kid that's no fun.
yeah. I'm gonna do to my pants.
Yeah.
Stop making fun of me. I have a deviated septum. Okay, we're gonna talk about blanket statements from an RD.
Yes.
But then I also really want to you mentioned it earlier, but your Instagram page, which is pretty cool.
I can segue into that with my thoughts.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Go for
I
it.
was excited to get into your hobbies because you don't watch anything. So I was like,
If I
takes care of her
do,
plants.
I like to watch documentaries.
What's your
Nice.
favorite documentary? See?
Oh, I do know. There's this one about this jellyfish. It's called Octopus, not jellyfish. My Octopus
I know what you're talking
Teacher.
about. Yeah.
My Octopus Teacher.
That's
Yeah.
what we recently watched. You should watch it.
Do you think
What?
do you think octopus are
so
aliens?
cool. Yes, they're so smart.
Totally not from
Are
this
they
planet.
at okay? So that's always been something that is like the rumor about that. Them and dolphins that they're like very, very
Yes,
intelligent?
you should watch it.
Are they
It's
seriously as smart as you?
according to
I
this
think
documentary,
they're more intelligent than dolphins because they can
I thought you were gonna say than
escape
humans. I was
from
gonna say
anything
bullshit.
and
they can like hide
blend
themselves
into
in little
things.
shells.
Yeah,
You should watch it.
Well, I mean, a lot of animals have different defense
No.
mechanisms.
Watch
though.
it and
Look at
you'll-
porcupine.
like they're
Watch
way,
it and
How the
you'll
hell
know.
did porcupines get spikes? I want to know that.
Okay, watch the
Evolution.
I'm
documentary,
just saying. Yeah, I'm just saying.
and you'll know.
Hey, don't
There's
say
this-
that on our podcast, okay?
And they're kind of like dogs because he came
I'm
up
just
and
kidding.
cuddled with them in the water.
Yeah,
What?
Hmm?
Okay, elephants are also really smart.
Okay, watch the documentary.
Elephants for elephant. What's the movie? Jay really likes
the
it.
Elephant Man.
No. So many
Dumbo.
peanuts. Elephants. Shit, you guys.
Why is your brain not working tonight? You
Shut
can't
up.
remember any
I'm going
words.
to talk about it. You guys keep
Have you ever
talking.
seen
I'm gonna find it.
Have you ever heard of the fake dolphins are mermaids documentary?
No,
I had somebody show this to me, and I was like 100% convinced when it was over
I don't believe
that
you.
mermaids were real.
maybe.
And then it turns out that it was
Oh.
made so that like people to show that people will watch a documentary and believe anything after they watch it.
Oh, really?
That's really
Yeah.
funny.
That's kind of interesting.
and you fell
Because-
for it.
This kind
Oh,
of
you
like
fell for
ties,
the octopus.
this ties into what
It's-
you do though is like all the
Yes.
the nutrition documentaries.
Yes. Yep. But they're interesting to watch because I like to know what people are seeing.
Mhm.
There's a good one about like sustainable farming and how like not against being a vegan, but like how actually some of like the plant-based vegan options are more, I don't know the right word.
It can be
Um,
more detrimental to
Yes.
the environment.
Yeah.
Than if you just do sustainable farming.
Yeah. So that's an interesting thing that we actually got into. One of my close friends that we interviewed on the podcast is a meat scientist.
Yeah, I listened to that
And
one.
Yeah. So
Yep.
she dove into
Yeah,
like,
that was cool.
people, anybody that's pushing agenda is going to push it to the extreme.
Mhm.
And so that's
Yeah, gotta
that's
know
the
your
really hard
sources.
thing is that what was the documentary about pushing the plant-based diet? That everyone was like, Arnold Schwarzenegger's a vegan now, and
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
yeah. Dude, I'm doing it again.
Dude, we can't
You're
remember
done with this
any
podcast.
of
No,
this.
Slow
no,
news
no,
speech,
no,
Ellie and I
Watch.
talked
No.
about
Luckily
now.
for the video, I can like edit in, like I'll throw the titles in. Our dumb brains.
Game Changers.
Game changers.
Yes!
There we go.
There's one.
So that was the
Oh.
the nutrition one that athletes
I
should
don't
all
think I
be
watched
vegan.
it.
Everybody watched that. Like I
Yeah.
remember.
I just
like,
said I
when-
don't think I watched
Yeah,
that.
didn't
Like,
you-
everyone
didn't
watched
you
it.
go
when
weak
I watched
meatless?
it, I literally thought like, I need to stop eating meat.
Yeah,
Right.
and then
But like, it's so, it's just so persuasive.
Mhm.
It's
the
a-
way that it's all presented.
dude, it's an insane microcosm of the climate we live in, though.
Mhm.
In the fact that who pushed that, the guy that was the backing for it, owns a company that makes plant-based food.
yeah, that makes sense.
And that's like
Right.
everything.
Yeah.
That's the agenda.
That's why I think you should listen to both extreme sides and in between so you can really be like,
And then here is a
well-informed.
concept.
Just know as much as you can about the thing instead of
Yeah.
I was
know
gonna say,
one single thing
Right.
and make all your
Whoa.
opinions on it. This is
but
mind
also,
blowing.
yeah, create your own opinion.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's like,
Yeah.
everybody's so persuasive with documentaries.
Yeah.
I like documentaries that aren't that are non-biased, that
Yeah,
are
or
just like
not
almost
trying
like
to push
story
something.
based,
Right.
or like
Like
Mhm.
Icarus.
that's
is
that's
one
one
of
that
the.
I always
Yeah.
think of.
I think it's my
Like the
number,
it's so
number
good.
one
Like the
favorite
octopus
documentary of all
teacher.
time.
I
There
don't
we go.
believe it.
That's just
It's
a
so
fun.
It was good.
Okay, we're gonna watch it.
It was
Yeah.
good.
I'll watch it
Yeah.
and then I'll report back.
And for the record, I like Friends, The Office, New Girl, but half that isn't even on freaking Netflix anymore.
New Girl is not Friends. though.
I know. I
We
used
just
to love
watched. We
Friends.
just.
What about
this
Parks
is
and Rec?
embarrassing.
I actually haven't watched that.
It's fine.
Have you
it's
watched
not
it?
anywhere near as good as New Girl.
Oh,
Or
it's
Schitt's
my
Creek.
favorite show. of
Okay,
all
maybe
time.
I'll watch that.
Well, you're wrong.
When it's cold, I watch more.
Water for
we go.
Elephants.
But when it's
Water
warm-
for Elephants.
You've never seen it?
No.
It's so
I'll have to check it
good.
out.
And they're really smart. That's another animal that's
Yeah.
like hyper intelligent.
Okay, see, we all have homework to do. I'll watch that.
There we go.
You watch Octopus
Water
Teacher.
for elephants will make you cry.
Okay.
It's really sad, but it's really good. It's really, really good. But I'm gonna watch this
Octopus
Octopus.
Teacher.
Octopus.
It's basically a
Octopus.
guy that like went back. He's like a videographer, and he went and like videoed this octopus every single day, and he learned a lot about this octopus.
about one octopus.
Yep.
Does it die at the end?
I'm not sure.
Did you not finish it?
I know. I don't.
Oh, okay. Okay. I won't. Don't ruin it.
Yeah.
But I will watch it.
Okay.
Okay. What are
Anyway.
your top blanket statements
Okay.
for people for food and, and
I
things?
think that people in general should not count their macros
Ooh.
and
So we're
count
going,
their calories
I like it.
and they should focus more on like a visual plate.
Interesting.
I
What
like
does
that.
I
that
think
mean?
in general, if you look at your plate and you
Mhm.
see that half of it is fruits or vegetables, maybe more vegetables,
Mhm.
has like some sort of protein, some sort of whole grain, or even honestly, eat half your plate is vegetables and half the other half, whatever you want. And you're probably better off than yo-yo dieting your whole life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And by yo-yo diet, you mean
Jumping on the keto train, jumping on the Whole30 train,
Yeah.
and then not
cutting
the
and
same
intermittent
gaining and cutting and
fasting.
gaining.
Yes.
And
Because I think that when you count, and I think it's some people, it's good for people to track what they do for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because some people are so unaware of what they eat.
yeah.
But it could be a slippery slope to disordered eating.
Yeah.
And I think macros, it's like, oh, I had 20 grams of protein left at the end of my day. So I'm just going to eat my 20 grams of protein. But like, you're not being intuitive at all with your eating because
Sure.
you're just
You're
eating.
just like literally just eating to meet a
Yes.
numerical goal.
And you should never eat like the same exact thing every single day. Like your day to day is going to change. So if you're eating the same thing every day, you're not really learning like hunger and fullness cues and what sounds good. And
Sure.
Yeah.
It is something that's interesting. The numbers game, whether it be like the zone diet that CrossFit, like basically like jumped on when it
Yeah.
Or
started.
paleo was
Or-
huge as well.
Yeah.
But like zone is like all based on like blocks of food.
yeah.
Yeah.
What's the new one that people are doing?
Well, there's like
R,
Weight
it's just an R.
Watchers is, like they count points.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like macros obviously are like not numerical
Yeah.
based.
Weight Watchers isn't bad because every food's allowed.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I think is very important. And maybe you're going
Mhm.
to get into that with like your next
Like
thing,
being inclusive instead of
Every
Yeah.
food should be allowed in your diet.
but I do like the idea, like that's something that I always talk to people about when they're like, hey, like what are your advices if I want to lose 10 pounds? I'm like,
Mhm.
well, A, why do you want to lose 10
right.
pounds?
Right.
Right? Like, is that even like a significant number? Or are you just pulling that out of thin
Mhm.
air? And B, like, what are you eating currently?
Right.
Because if you
Yeah.
don't know what you're actually consuming
Yeah.
on a regular basis, right? Like everybody has this idea that every day should be the same, but in reality, like there's ebbs and flows to everybody's,
Right.
like their lifestyle. So a lot of the time, Monday through Friday, like things are just kind of normal and you just fall into routines.
Mhm.
And then you can enjoy the weekends a little bit more,
Mhm.
especially when it's related to food and
Sure.
Yeah.
alcohol.
I don't think it's bad to start with that, but it's just not
Yeah.
sustainable to count your macros every day of your life for
Yeah.
the rest of your life.
Then that's what I'm saying is
that's what for some people like.
Mhm.
I anytime somebody asks me about diet and I'm actually care about them and I'm like, you know what, they might listen to me. I'm like, if you're going to count your macros in any way, it's only to learn
Right.
Yep.
how much is visually in a portion.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because like at this point now,
For sure.
like I still will measure out some stuff if I, just want to make sure that I'm,
Yeah.
In a certain range
Sure.
on like, I don't want to go crazy. Rice is a really hard one. That's what I
We
can't
just had
visually
rice.
do
Yeah.
rice.
Yeah.
But like chicken and steak, I can essentially just look at the portion
Yeah.
on the plate and
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So
It's definitely one of those things where when somebody asks me, like specifically if they're just like, hey, I want some help cleaning up my diet, I
Mhm.
want to like take care of the what ifs. There's never a time where I ask them to track for more than like 3 to 4 weeks, like
Yeah.
a month max,
Yeah.
because that's a great period of time where you're going to find, like 30 days is a long enough time for you to like,
Yeah. Catch the whole data.
yeah.
Yeah.
And your outliers are going to fall into place and it's going to be kind of like that normal or like normality of 30 days.
Yeah.
But like post that, I'm not the type of person that's like, okay, so now this next month we're gonna like move things around. We're gonna change your numbers and like
Mhm.
it's all dependent upon what that person's goals are. But if they're just looking to eat well and like a relative whole rounded or like well-rounded diet, the learning process of the macros is only to set them up to not do that in the
Right.
future.
Right.
Mhm.
Like if you go to like a get together, like a potluck, you can't count your macros there. I think that stresses people out and they're like, I don't know what to eat. Like
Yeah.
it's not good.
Yeah.
So if you can just use that visual method of like, I'm going to make half my plate vegetables,
Sure.
another half like a fourth protein,
Yeah.
a fourth
Just
grain,
get back
Yep.
to simple.
It makes it-
simplifying it.
more sustainable long term.
Yes.
And
Now-
of course, like you're an athlete, you
And-
should
Yeah.
probably track things.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
building
dependent
muscle.
upon like if you're cutting weight, right?
Right.
Or whatever. Like
Yeah,
like
there's
for
time
me,
and
I'm not
place.
drinking alcohol right now. Like that's just something that you're making a decision on.
Yeah.
But yeah, like cutting weight, obviously, like you're gonna have to track in some respect to
Yeah.
hit the weight that you have to lift at or
Sure.
wrestle at
Mhm.
or whatever. But if you're just like truthfully trying to enjoy life and just want to be a
Yeah.
healthy human being, like track for a month and just to learn the process,
Mhm.
and then you have a visual, like you said, a visual cue of okay, this is the amount of protein I should eat on a plate.
Mhm.
And half my plate is veggies. And like, I think people are just looking for like this yo-yo, like next best thing
Mhm.
to help them lose weight and get shredded even
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah. Or
And
like
it's
people like, I want to
it's
lose
not-
5 to 10 pounds. I'm like, what is that 5 to 10 pounds really affecting your life?
Yeah.
Like, are you really, can you do everything that you want?
Yep.
You're probably more unhappy trying to lose that 5 pounds for 5 years
Yep.
rather than just like living with it
Sure.
and being
And it's
happy.
not even just that like number in their head. It's also the stress
right.
that is consistent through their life around
Yes.
every time they consume something.
Which is all day
Yeah.
long, like 3
Yeah.
meals.
And that's where like the issues start coming
Yeah.
into play.
Yeah,
You
that's
start
what-
having bad relationships.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say that's what that statement feels like is just like on the deepest level is eat the way that you plan to eat forever. Like trying
Yeah.
to find a way that instead of
Mhm.
like, I guess if somebody wants to eat keto, but only go to that. Like that's what drives me crazy is when
Mhm.
somebody's like, I'm gonna go keto for a month.
Yeah.
And,
then they
then
don't
I'm just
do it
gonna do
right,
whatever.
and
I'm
they're
like,
like-
that's literally like you
Yeah.
just told me you're gonna yo-yo diet, which
yeah.
by the way, yo-yo diet sounds kind of cool. Like maybe a new cool fad diet plan.
Could be called
you
yo-yo
have
diet.
to have a Yomega fireball, and you have to go down.
Like an actual
You're only
yo-yo.
allowed to eat
Yeah.
meals while you go down
Ooh.
and up.
So it's only foods that you can eat with one hand.
Yep.
Mm.
You're only allowed to
Wow.
be
And
consuming.
you
That's
have
the
to
new one.
yo-yo the whole
What
time.
do you call it? What do you call it when you're yo-yoing and
You
put
walk
it
the
down?
cat, dude.
No, when it just
Like
hits the bottom, a sleeper, right? Isn't that when it hits the bottom?
Were you
and it
guys
just
yo-yo
spins?
stars in elementary
Well,
school?
You graduated from high school in 2009, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't remember the names
mean,
of the
middle school-
yo-yo
No,
things.
isn't
No,
it called-
elementary school.
Isn't it called
was
walk
like
the
I had a
cat?
yo-yo, but I can't remember any of the
yo-yos.
names.
Well, that was when it would hit the ground and,
And
go
then
away.
run
I
away.
think when it hit the bottom and
The
just
sleep?
spun, it was called the sleeper. See, this is a 90s thing,
Yeah.
though. Yo-yos were so
They were pretty cool.
90s.
They were pretty cool.
They
And
were-
some kids were like
yeah.
superstars with them.
Oh,
Yeah.
They,
Oh,
like,
there
do the
was
cradle
like every
Yeah.
school
like,
had the
right
one
around
kid
the
that
cat.
got really into yo-yoing and would like
Yeah.
spin it and do all that
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of
In
stuff. I
competitions.
So
I
that's
remember
the new diet.
you gotta you can only eat if you have a yo-yo that's in a sleeper.
I like it.
You
I
gotta
don't
throw
think
it
it's called
down, it's gotta
sleeper.
sit down there.
It's not called sleeper. It's called something else. But we'll get back to that. That's
Yeah.
another shared opportunity.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so that's your first statement.
yeah.
Is half veggies and fruits.
Visual eating.
Visually, yeah.
Visual eating.
Yep.
Visual
In
cues.
general. In
Skip
general.
Right.
macros. eat
Obviously, like
visually.
these things probably have way more attention and
Yes.
depth to them, but
Yep.
these are just kind of high level things.
But because then you're going to have to learn to like vegetables.
Sure.
Like, I don't think you can generally be super healthy or medium healthy and not like vegetables.
But what about the carnivore diet?
It's not good.
Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
What about dino nuggets?
Dino nuggets are incredible.
Yeah. With a
okay.
side of veggies.
This is a really good
salad on the
segue,
side,
though. I
That's
guess this is probably
why-
where you're
yeah.
leaning into it.
Because sure, you can be on the carnivore diet, but like you're going to be missing a lot of good nutrition
Yeah.
that you get from plants
Yep.
or vegetables. So I feel like a lot of people don't eat them because they like write it off. They have like one tomato, like when they're 9 and like,
Yeah.
I hate tomatoes.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
no. There's so
so-
many
yeah.
things that you probably like now that you didn't like before.
Sure.
Like
Absolutely.
I didn't like red wine and I pushed through
Now you
and
love-
now I love
You
it.
didn't like red wine when you were 8?
That's
What do you
incredible.
mean you didn't like
But
red
I
wine when you
pushed
were 8?
through,
And now I love it.
Now
Yeah.
I love it.
But that's something I really do
Bobby
talk about
Mondavi.
with like
Did you ever
my
accidentally drink like your parents' wine or alcohol?
probably.
Okay.
This is like a
Hold on,
great.
hold
This
on.
is a
Let's
great.
talk about the way you pose that. Did you ever accidentally drink it?
Yeah.
Like as
Well,
a kid.
duh.
So I have a great example of that is that we had a box of Franzia in the fridge in our house. And it was like I woke up on a Sunday morning and there's a box of Franzia and I thought it was like juice. It looked like juice. I didn't know what Franzia was.
Just
So
I don't
I
have
poured
any
myself
memories
a
of that.
giant glass
No.
of grape juice. Not grape
Tank
juice. No, I mean, I
you,
probably
like,
took a
didn't
sip
like
of it and I was
yeah.
like, ooh.
I remember like
But
my dad
wait.
would drink beer and I would be like, oh, can I have a sip of it? And I was like, what is
It was
this?
terrible. Yeah,
See?
yeah.
And now we all like beer.
Yeah, and then we
See?
pushed through and we
And then
forced
but I have
it.
a good example. So I used to work kind of segueing back to like what I did before. My current job was with kids who did eat. And it was like picky eating or
Oh, that's so interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I had seen I always stalk
Yeah.
people's social media before
Yeah.
we do an interview.
The little
Did you
vegetable
take the
shirt.
camera down in here too?
What?
Oh yeah, you
Oh,
did.
ooh,
Never mind.
that's a little
Oh, boy.
creepy. Good thing I don't stay here
boy,
often.
Ryan.
Well, that's creepy.
We're gonna
Time to
cut that
put
out.
the podcast.
I saw your like chart
vegetable
of
chart?
eating for
Yeah.
picky eaters, and I was like, I screenshotted it and I put it in my Google Photos, so I have it in like 5 years.
Yeah, perfect.
When I have a picky little eater,
Yeah.
which I hope I don't, because me and my wife are very good. Not
So
picky eaters.
yeah, that's good. So actually, I work with tube feeders, but I work with a lot of kids that, because they were tube feeders, are picky, and so then we work on like eating beyond that. And a lot of it is like having good and bad foods. So you give kids like M&Ms for using the toilet, you know, and like,
Sure.
like so like you
Sure.
give these foods, like if you finish your broccoli, then you can have an M&M. So it puts this
Eee.
picture of like broccoli's bad, and,
Yeah.
and it sticks with people.
Yeah.
So the best thing to do is just offer all foods, and like you decide like what and when is offered, and they decide how much.
Like-
It's like the best.
So,
So
like
give an
making a
example.
reward food as like just saying you can have a snack.
You should just
instead of-
offer like an Oreo with dinner, which sounds crazy, but it just
Well,
like
I mean,
then
not-
they.
I
not
might
for me.
start implementing that on my own. Yeah.
Does sound crazy to me?
Yeah, sounds good.
I've already finished the Reese's cups you gave me.
It's like
I'm
kids
not
will
kidding.
learn what fuels them, and so like
Yeah.
give them a plate of like food that feels comfortable, food that's new, and like fun foods, and just give it to them, and they decide. So you decide like what and when, and they decide how much. And there's schedules. They don't get to eat all day long. They need to build an appetite.
Sure.
Mhm.
So I think that's what happens with kids, that they just get to snack all day long on like these like goldfish and crackers, and they
Yeah.
build no appetite. And then like I have all these parents that are like, well, I don't like tomatoes, so they're not gonna like tomatoes. I'm like, have they ever tried one? Like,
Yeah. Have
parents
you ever
are-
prepared it in a
have you-
way that
yes.
you think they might like?
yes, or are you like, oh, eat that tomato, and then you don't eat it, and then think it's gross? Like,
Right.
they're not
Yeah.
gonna eat it.
Right.
That is tough.
So you got to start with them.
How does that translate to adults then? Like, how do you recommend people who would say they're picky eaters go about?
Just try it.
Just don't be a weenie.
Just don't be one bite. I don't care if you put it in your mouth and spit it out. Like your
Really?
tongue is really gonna
Just
get
to
used
try
to
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yep. I tried it with olives because I hated olives,
Mm.
and I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna see if this works. It took a lot of times. Like
Yeah.
I would, every time there was an olive and like pizza or
You would just try
a
it.
Bloody Mary or whatever.
So that's
so weird.
On the other
it's
side,
always
is
fell
like,
into the vodka I was drinking.
so you're saying like, not just like start this chart and I'm gonna try all
Yeah.
these things. You're saying like every time something you think you don't like comes up, you have a bite of
Just
it.
have one bite.
That's
It's
interesting.
not gonna kill you.
And
Okay.
you like train yourself to like it.
Yep. Or like a good example is like Brussels sprouts. Like I don't like them steamed. Who wants them steamed,
Yeah.
right? So like try
You
them
just
different
smell
ways.
like a fart.
Right.
Yeah.
So air fry them or
Yep.
put them on the grill or
Cook
like
'em with
try different
bacon.
things.
Yep.
Or like, I don't think people understand how to use seasonings that well.
Sure.
That is a huge thing.
And I don't
Yeah.
want to eat raw broccoli. Like I think it's
Yeah,
kind of gross.
it's terrible.
Dip it
I
in
mean,
freaking ranch. I
I
don't
was just
care.
about to say Hidden
Yes.
Valley. Coming
Whatever.
in hot.
Yeah.
Yep.
Actually, Hidden Valley makes a good Greek yogurt ranch.
Really?
It's really good.
There's a lot of
I like the buttermilk one.
Me too. And I'm honestly not a
Give
big
me that
proponent of
full
like,
It's like on the other
Yeah.
spectrum. Well, yeah, the low-fat Greek
yeah,
Greek
it's
family.
good. But
Yeah.
honestly,
No.
I don't like to not eat
Buttermilk.
real dressings.
No.
But that's one that actually tastes.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
are some that are okay. And then there's like the lighter like vinaigrettes are already just kind of like, I don't know why. It doesn't like, I don't really notice the difference. It's
Yeah.
like,
But to be honest, like there are definitely better options when it comes to
Yes.
like seasoning and
Yes.
flavoring
Yes.
foods than
Yeah.
others, right?
But even
Like,
with dressing, like back to that, like a low fat dressing is probably taking away like the healthy olive oil and
Mhm.
putting in like,
Mhm.
canola oil.
yeah, and
Or
sugar
palm oil or-
and like fake shit because it, can I swear on this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, of
Okay,
course.
fake
Hell
shit.
yeah.
let her rip.
that
Shit,
it's not
yeah.
good for you.
Right.
Fuck
So-
yeah. There we go. How was that?
Sure.
It's like I did that
Now,
twice
damn it.
now.
Now,
Sure.
I
I should
gotta, now I
ask,
gotta
that's
label
okay.
the episode as explicit.
Nah.
Explicit.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. So okay, so that leads into your Instagram. So your Instagram page is called
Wine and arugula. Wine dot arugula.
Want, yeah.
and
Technically.
why did you choose arugula A? Obviously wine is great, but like why out of everything?
Out of all the lettuces?
Just like out of anything in general.
You didn't like put a list up and you're like, which one has
Which
the best
one?
ring
I
to
mean,
it?
that's
There's
what
like
we
a-
did
there's
when
like
we
a
were
chart,
picking
like, which
bourbon
one
and
do
balance.
we-
We were like whiskey and walkie talkies and
He's not wrong.
brown water and like
Yeah, yeah,
I mean we
yep.
I don't know
obviously
why
wanted
I
to find something that
chose-
was like
Arugula. I wanted
Really?
to like balance. Like you can have wine and you can have salad.
sure.
What a
Maybe balance.
perfect pair.
Wow, weird. Bourbon
Weird.
and balance.
That's
so cool.
weird. Yeah.
Okay, so
Wine
there's no like,
and
like
Not for
specific
arugula,
reasoning
although I
behind
do
it.
like it and I call it
I
spicy
do love
lettuce.
arugula. I actually like arugula on pizza.
Oreos
Yeah.
and oregano.
Even better. But I love
T-shirt.
wine more.
Put it on.
Well, and I wanted to choose a vegetable because I really feel like if people ate more vegetables, everyone would be better off.
Yeah.
And
I
I want to
agree.
show that you can make them or make them tasty.
So what is the basis for your Instagram? What is the content that you put on there? Because you put out a lot of really cool content.
Thanks.
And I didn't know up until maybe a few weeks ago that like there was like a purpose behind it.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was just kind of like a personal like, oh, here's the foods that I'm making, but like it's actually an educational direction.
Trying to show that. I'm trying to show people that you can eat vegetables and make it enjoyable and tasty and realistic. Like I think people think that eating healthy has to be hard
And expensive.
And take a lot of time, and it doesn't have to be that way.
Sure.
And it doesn't be that fancy. And I feel like then the whole growing thing, like this is kind of a new hobby, but to grow it is like so much more rewarding.
Sure.
And it's not that hard, actually.
That's really neat.
Although like this garden Ross and I are doing are making it like seem like it's kind of crazy.
I just saw a meme. You know what? I'm going to read it because my memory on this podcast has not really been that great up until this point. But
I thought it was a May.
It says, after 6 weeks, $140 in supplies and daily watering, we're only 3 to 4 weeks away from enjoying a single 25
someone sent that to me today.
vegetable from our garden.
It's kind of, well, we'll see.
It's a little true.
Yes.
I mean, we have a garden in our backyard, like a raised garden bed that I built a couple years ago, I think. And like there are definitely some like big bang for your buck vegetables where like you plant them and they're just like freaking everywhere and you can't eat them fast enough.
And they like,
Peppers,
no matter what
tomatoes.
you do, you essentially like can't kill them either.
Yeah. And tomatoes and cucumbers.
Green beans are another insane
Dude,
one.
they just grow like crazy.
And I think that's what we're trying to figure out is like what, because last year I grew a few things. I'm like, I got nothing out of this. It's stupid.
Yeah.
But if I can figure out like a few vegetables that produce a lot for the whole entire summer and then people could do that for themselves, like it's so enjoyable to like have a thing of bib lettuce and go like grab it from the backyard and make a salad.
You also have to obviously like if you're going to do that, and we learned this the past couple of years, is like you have to grow things, especially if they're growing in abundance, that you're actually going to eat.
Yes.
Right? Like it.
Yeah. Or you can give them away. More people can eat vegetables.
It's true. We actually bring like a lot of Jay's clients. They're in Fremont, so they have like a lot of farmland out there.
Yeah.
They'll just bring like zucchinis and peppers and tomatoes.
Yeah.
It's like, we'll eat them.
Right.
It's so funny to me. This is kind of like going off script, not a little bit, or off topic. But when I think of like the older generation, kind of like the boomer generation, and for some reason it's always males that I hear say this, but they just don't eat vegetables.
Right.
Like
They're
like
just
meat and
over it. They're not
potatoes.
I don't eat what my meat
That's my
eats.
dad.
And I always like that to me would be the hardest like thing to crack.
And that's why a lot of the general nutrition teaching is not always enjoyable.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what it is or was. I jumped right into kids nutrition, so I didn't do a lot of it. But
Sure. What so what's your favorite right now vegetable to grow?
I'm really enjoying the lettuce.
Really?
Yeah. We have kale, arugula, and bib lettuce that like every 2 days we have more that we can make more salad.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah. And it's not that much.
We did kale one time and it didn't like maybe we didn't plant enough, but we didn't get that much out of it to where it could be like, hey, we can have a salad. It was
Maybe
like,
you got a different kale.
let's crisp
kind.
up these as chips.
Oh.
Like it wasn't a lot.
Yeah. Ours
Yeah.
is like a huge bush that like produced way too much.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice
Maybe
problem to have.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite vegetable to cook?
Oh, it's a hard question.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Brussels sprouts like when they get super crispy.
Hillary,
Yeah.
it sounds like you really just don't do favorites.
I don't. I have too many
That's
favorites.
So true.
You just
That's
enjoy
true.
things in the
How to
moment.
Lose a Guy in 10
Yep.
days.
Yep, that's it.
That's it.
There
That's
we
the only
go.
thing I listen to
Yeah.
and watch and read and
She just listens to the vocal
DVD.
Yeah.
the lines
I think
of
that's
it.
why I like salads and like bootable, like because it's like so many ingredients in
Sure.
one thing that I can
Yeah.
have so many different flavors.
Yeah.
Salads are hilarious. What's it? Dimitri Martin is like, with salads, you make it this giant thing, and then you have to get a little version on this of the salad.
Oh
on
yeah.
every bite.
Yeah. He does.
You
He
have to get a little bit of lettuce and a little bit of tomato and a little bit
Yeah.
of chicken and a little
That
bit
skit
of
is
Yes,
really
to get
funny
every little
too.
piece of.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
making a
Yep.
mini salad on
Mhm.
his salad
Yep.
poker.
Yeah.
So, blanket statement number 2: eat more vegetables.
Eat more vegetables.
What do we got for number 3?
Last one.
You have to, when you make something, just make like 2 or 3 servings of it.
Really?
Yeah. Because like
Interesting.
everyone's like, oh, I don't want to make a salad. It takes so much time. I'm like, well, you're cutting up the lettuce and the tomatoes right then and there. Just I'll have a munch
I see
with
what you're saying. So you're almost saying meal prep.
meal prep, but I don't do like
but
a
not
Sunday,
in-
like 7-day. That's too much
Not
for
in
me.
massive quantities.
But whenever I
Especially
make
if you're, like-
something,
Yeah.
I make triple them out.
especially if we're talking about vegetables though,
Mhm.
because I feel like vegetables, like if you cut them up and prep them, like really like 2 to 3 days, if they're not gone by then, they're going to get a little
Yeah.
bit like,
And it's
Well,
damn near
kinda.
impossible to eat
Well, it
too
depends.
much vegetable.
I guess it depends on what type of vegetable.
Yeah.
But yeah, literally like
But
you've
you can
never
make
heard
a
of
salad
somebody
and
like
it's good for a couple, like for 4 days, 5 days.
without dressing.
Well, duh.
Okay.
put on
Well,
the
some
side.
people don't know that.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
You know,
Yeah.
duh.
Yeah. My bad.
Eh, wait, what did you just say? Because I had a thought.
I just said it like 20 seconds ago.
I know. What was it?
I don't know.
That's amazing.
I was saying
That's
that.
great.
I was saying that you can't eat too
Yes.
much.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yes. You
I
can't OD on
No.
like an apple or a.
Well, you could
or
probably eat
lettuce.
too many apples.
I don't
Or
know,
blueberries
man.
and then just
I think your
shoot
body at
yourself.
some point is just
Yeah.
gonna be like, okay, man, I'm full. Like we've had enough.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
really done.
It is an interesting thing.
Chicken nuggets. Can you say the same thing about that? No.
There are not a lot of bro science things I like, but when I started cutting weight, I got the Mike Dolce diet. Who
Dude,
is
he's
like,
great. He's,
yeah, he's
a
the UFC dietitian guy.
Yeah.
But he does have a lot of bro science. on
Yeah.
it. But one of the things he talks about is like go crazy on vegetables, and like with most fruits, you're good because
Yeah.
how many people do you know that can eat 4 apples in a single
So he's
sitting?
the one that I got that from.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
like I don't know anybody that will eat more than 2 apples in a sitting.
Yeah.
Oh,
I could
that's
probably
crazy.
eat,
Cut
like-
up an apple.
I could eat a couple bananas.
I was gonna
really
say.
like bananas.
Yeah.
But it all is. It's also dependent upon like what you're having it with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like if you have 4 apples, that's not bad.
Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah.
And
Right.
generally things that are nutrient dense are also like you're not going to want to overeat.
Yeah.
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 And that's
Or a
like
little bit
something
more
too
filling.
is like, look at your plate and see like, what is this nutrition providing me? Like or this food, like some people will be like, well, the mac and cheese has less calories in the salad, but I'm like, but the salad
Yeah.
has more nutrition
And that's
than
That's my
Okay.
problem with the whole it fits your macros.
Yes.
Right.
Because like the whole macro counting doesn't take into account micronutrients. And
Yeah.
then you start
Yeah.
lacking a lot of things.
because people will do like low calorie, like processed foods that are like very low nutrition. And they
I
should have
had
just
something
had,
happen today. Actually, that was
Mhm.
interesting. And I want to know what your thoughts are on it. Because I don't know necessarily all the science behind the processing of it, but a good buddy of mine from the gym, he had a couple green juices delivered actually to the
Mhm.
gym while he was there. And I was like, what the heck, man? Like you just have like this lady just like came in and gave him these
Yeah.
juices. She was like, all right, I'll see you tomorrow. And I was like, do you drink these often? He was like, well, yeah, I have like 2 or 3 a day
Mhm.
because the rest of my diet, like I just don't eat vegetables.
Yeah.
So like, did you learn anything about juicing or like have you had any experience with juicing
If you're
replacing?
juicing, you're losing a lot of like the peels and the fiber
Yeah.
where a lot of the nutrition is.
Sure.
And you're just going to getting the sugary part of the fruit
Okay.
for the most part.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, it's better than pop,
Yeah.
but like, and then I
It
mean,
shouldn't be a complete like one
Right.
replacement.
and you're missing a lot of like the phytonutrients and the antioxidants and stuff from all that processing. So it's
Okay.
probably
Yeah.
better just to eat the real
That's
stuff.
what like
yeah.
But if you're not going to eat it at all, then that's probably better than that.
Yeah.
because like smoothies are kind of in the same area too, where it's
Well,
like
you're putting all the
I was gonna
food in
say,
there.
but with a smoothie, you're actually eating like the
for the most part,
like,
unless you peel
pulp and
yeah.
the
Sure.
skin
Yep.
and
No, smoothies are good.
yeah.
they are good.
Yeah.
You
But
feel
like
good
with
about
juicing,
smoothies?
you're extracting all the fibrous material. So
Yeah,
like,
you're basically just getting like the sugar water from the.
Ah.
You're gonna
but
get vitamins.
like, I'm saying like
Yeah.
if it's not like
If
you
you're
know,
just
like a
chucking
green
whole-
juice is primary, like there's probably an apple and a lemon in
Yeah.
there to like make it sweeter and
Yeah.
more palatable.
Yes,
but
the way
Mhm.
it gets
but like the kale
juiced,
and the
it-
celery and the
Yeah.
spinach, like you're
It's fine.
still getting nutrients, but it's
Yeah.
just probably
Yeah. And if you're gonna go down the line of like not eating any at all,
Yeah.
probably better just eat them.
yeah.
Like we talk about a lot of our like low income kids get juice on their WIC, which is like a women, infant, children
Mhm.
package,
Mhm.
because that's like a main source of their fruit,
Interesting.
and that's better than not.
And juice that you're referring to is like juicy juice.
They like on these there's like this government standard, so it's 100% juice that they have
Okay.
to get. It's
And
like
It's actually
specific
100% juice.
Yes.
and
There's, like,
that's actually
specific things-
better than
nothing at all.
yeah, not
Yeah.
having any form
Yeah.
of fruit.
So it just kind of depends.
it's all on
They
a
should just learn
spectrum.
to like the fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
And it would be
Or,
better.
like,
and then
somehow work
just
them in.
follow my page and I'll show you how to eat the fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
pretty neat.
I don't know.
Do you follow her yet? You should. You do because you stalked her.
Sometimes though, I think I'm probably too intense. Like some people are like, I don't even know what that seasoning is. So I probably should bring it back down. But
But
You do you, girl.
at the same time, like we talk about it a lot because we meal prep, and we meal prep a lot of like most of our like proteins and stuff. And then the sides are usually just like rice and some type of like sauteed or air fried veggie. But like once you learn how to properly season food, like it just translates into everything.
And they're all
else.
kind of the
really
same seasoning over and over and over again. And different. Yeah.
Salt, pepper, garlic, like you're already on your way.
A little cumin and a little,
So yeah, I think it's definitely something that if you don't know how to do it, it's very easy to pick up.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a routine. And then the word that I always like to use is sustainable. So
yes.
If it's sustainable to eat your vegetables regularly, then you're going to do it more often.
And I think that's why
if
people
you're like
stick
forcing
with
yourself
things.
down and gagging through vegetables, like
right. So just
find
start
a different
small.
route.
I think the best thing is to pick one thing that's attainable. You chart with too big of a goal, you're not going to want to, you're going to feel like a failure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So just pick one thing. Like I'm going to try broccoli a couple times to start there. You don't have to learn all vegetables at once, but if you can just make a goal, stick with it, and then it'll be kind of like a catalyst or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pattern. Simplify.
Back to the basics.
Yeah. I like that.
Eat your vegetables.
Cool.
Yeah.
And follow your page.
And follow my page.
Arugula.
Yes.
Arugula.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I think we can wrap it up from there.
Okay.
Thank you for opening your door to us
You're
and
welcome.
letting us come here and let Tully drink your wine.
Bobby's
Bobby
gone.
treated you well.
The Bobby's gone.
Bobby treated you well. So if you want to know more about Hilarie or follow her, you guys know her Instagram. We'll link it into all of the notes of the podcast.
Cool. Thanks for having me.
And you'll see her on all the socials and all that stuff. And
reach out if you have any nutrition questions.
For sure.
or don't.
No,
Or-
no.
yeah, that's
I
why-
know
that's
that's
why I
bad. No,
laughed.
please do. Please do. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm happy to help.
Well,
I
thanks
appreciate-
again.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on.
You're welcome.
Bourbon and Balance Boys out.
As always, thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with somebody who you think would enjoy it as well. This week's episode was sponsored by Coal Whip Speed Ropes, the fastest and most efficient ropes on the market. Use promo code BOURBON to get 10% off your order today.